All right, French, here we go. What is this?
A noose.
Good. And if there are two?
Two nooses.
Amazing. What about this?
A moose.
Good. And if there are two?
Two mooses.
Mooses? What? No, it's two moose. Why would you say mooses?
What? But noose was...
All right, moving on. What's this?
A goose.
Good. And if there are several?
Gooses.
What?
No, wait. Goose?
It's geese. You idiot. All right, here we go. So I had actually originally recorded this video a week ago, but then the sound came out terribly for some reason, so I decided I would do it again. And then when I started recording, my wife started having really bad contractions, so now I'm recording it, and I'm a dad. So that's fun. I'm gonna be sweating quite a bit during this video for several reasons. Number one, it's summer in Paris, so it's quite hot. Reason number two is I can't take this jacket off, because it's who I am now. It's who I am. And reason number three is because today we're talking about plurals, which really just brings my blood to a boil, because it could have been so simple. You know, it could have been one of those things where it's like, let's just add an S at the end of everything. You know, it could have been so simple, but it's fine. It's just words, you know, it's just what we use to communicate with one another. It's not like it's that important. Why make that simple, you know? Okay, I'm gonna calm down. Mooses, gooses, and nooses. Why not? Mouse? Mouses.
Mouses is ugly.
And why do we say houses? Huh? Why do we say houses and not heis? If we say mice, then we should say heis. But no, it's house, houses, mouse, mice. Okay. We're back. Well, apparently there is a reason. I'll let you decide if it's a good reason, but there is one. And it all starts with something called the Indo-European ablaut, which sounds complicated, because it is. But do not worry, in this video, I will explain everything to you. I will simplify it all, and I will tell you what it's all about. Yeah, I wouldn't blame you if you clicked away from the video now. Now, the first time I looked up the word ablaut, the first sentence I read was, in linguistics, the Indo-European ablaut is a system of apophony in Proto-Indo-European languages. And when I read that first sentence, I thought I should probably not do a video about that, because I didn't understand a word. And yet, here we are. The word ablaut comes from German. The word laut means sound, and the prefix ab means away from or off. Kind of how like abnormal means not normal, or how abdomen means being away from a six-pack. Probably, I assume. Ablaut is when you change the vowel inside a word to create a new meaning or new form. Not by adding something at the end, not by changing the whole word, just by changing a vowel inside. Now, there are different types of vowel changes. First, there is quantitative gradation. Close enough. And that is when the vowel becomes longer or shorter, like in photograph versus photographer, not photographer. All right, French, how do you say this?
Photo, like in French.
Good. And this?
Photographer, like in French.
What?
No, wait, sorry. I'm so stupid. Photographer.
Duh. You're an idiot. Second, there is qualitative gradation. Gradation? I don't know. When the actual quality of the vowel changes, like man and men, not mans. Hey, so apparently you're going around telling people that A is better than E? What? No, I just said some letters are better quality. You know, some letters are silent like H and some are better quality. Wow. You know what? Try saying a sentence without me. No problem. Ha! Problem. I said problem.
That's not a word.
Sounds like a you problem. Why is it always my problem? And then there is reduction to zero. No gradation. Which means the vowel disappears completely. For example, could not turning into couldn't. To understand why this happens, we have to go way back to a language called Proto-Indo-European, or as linguists call it, pi. I guess mathematicians aren't the only sweet tooths out there. Sweet teeth. Sweet tooth? So pi is the ancestor of a whole bunch of modern languages, like French, Spanish, English, German, Hindi, Russian. Basically half of the languages in Europe and a big part of Asia. Now, if you could look at it like a family tree, you would see that all these languages are like cousins. Espera, we are related?
Mon frère.
Hermano. Oh, brother. Today, about 3.4 billion people on Earth speak an Indo-European language, which is like close to half the world's population. Which is a lot. It's a lot. If you looked at the family tree again, it would be like the world's biggest, most powerful family. And Indo-European would be like Don Corleone. Now, a lot of weird verbs in English, like ride, rode, ridden, or sing, sang, sung, are leftovers from this weird vowel changing system. But back when people spoke pi, nobody actually wrote anything down. So linguists have to guess what pi actually sounded like. Yeah.
Okay, and so was it mans or men?
Men's.
Okay.
Men.
Oh, okay.
Man.
In truth, linguists are sort of able to reconstruct pi by comparing modern languages, which is kind of like trying to figure out what a grandparent looks like based on what two cousins look like. So, back to the word goose. Based on the reconstruction done by linguists, it probably comes from the Proto-Indo-European word, and again, this is a guess, goose. Goose. When said correctly. And somehow, over thousands of years, we ended up with goose. Kind of like how people today say probably instead of probably. Maybe in 100 years, we'll write it like this. I mean, probably. So, the big question, why do we say geese instead of gooses? Way back when Proto-Indo-European was spoken, vowel changes were used to show different grammatical forms, not just by adding an S, like we do today, which maybe we should do more.
Yeah, the sweat's really getting there. Oh my god.
Over time, English kept that ancient system for a few weird words like mouse, mice, man, tooth, teeth, and yes, goose, geese. But now, if goose turns into geese, why doesn't moose turn into meese? Because moose doesn't derive from Proto-Indo-European. Because moose didn't exist in Europe. Or still doesn't. Probably. Maybe in some zoos. I don't know. So the word moose doesn't actually derive from Old English, but was borrowed from the Eastern Abnaki word mas. And they didn't have fancy vowel changes for plurals. So when two words like goose or moose or house and mouse seem the same, but are pronounced differently or have different plural writing or pronunciation, it usually means they have a different grandpa. Because grandma got lonely during the war. And she needs somebody to hold her tight at night. Hold her real close. Make her feel less alone. And that's all the time we have. Thank you so much. I hope you guys learned something new, or laughed, or both. And I hope to see you guys soon. Make sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Bye. Okay.